Well, we are right in the middle of summer, and that means a lot of fun in the sun for many of us. And of course, that also means sunscreen. But despite all of the warnings about why it's important, a lot of folks still are not using it, or maybe you're not using it in the right way. Joining us now to talk about the science of sunscreen is board certified dermatologist Dr. Sabrina Fabi. Hi there. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Misha.
So, of course, it's surprising that people are not getting the message about sunscreen. We know how dangerous the sun's rays can be, even from an anti-aging standpoint, despite cancer standpoint. But before we get to that, what's actually happening to our skin when we tan and or burn?
Right, so everything is pretty much energy if you go back to physics. And so UVA and UVB essentially are emitting energy. It's light, and it's light that comes out in packets called photons, if you remember from physics. These photons are absorbed by our cells very readily, our skin cells. And so when that reaction takes place, it oxidizes our cells. Think of an apple that essentially turns brown where it oxidizes. That's what's happening at the level of our cell. And over time, as those cells continue to be oxidized, then what you won't only just see are brown spots, but eventually that DNA that's absorbing that energy, called a photon, will also mutate and cause a skin cancer.
So we're told we need to use SPF, of course,
Yes.
in our sunscreen. What exactly is SPF, and does it matter if it's SPF 15 or SPF 30 or SPF 90? Does it make a difference?
It absolutely makes a difference. First of all, an SPF is called a sun protection factor. This factor is actually telling us how quickly it'll take for us to burn. And so that really comes from UVB light. So think of UVB, B standing for burn. That type of light penetrates very superficially. So the chemicals that protect us from that UVB light allow us to be able to state how much they can protect us from the burn. So usually it takes about 10 minutes for us to burn. But if you have an SPF of 30, it protects you 30 times that amount. So now it'll take about 300 minutes before you burn. But what we've learned is that it's really more than just SPF or UVB. It's UVA that has a deeper impact. It penetrates deeper, causing us to tan as well as to age because it breaks down collagen. So think of UVA, A for aging. And so this ray is actually demonstrated to even be more powerful and actually be responsible for more serious forms of cancer, such as melanoma, which is on the rise. And so now the FDA has actually regulated the use of broad spectrum sunscreen. So you want your sunblock to not just have an SPF of 30 or higher, but also to have broad spectrum on it, because that tells you that it's actually protecting you from both UVB and UVA.
Okay, really quick before we let you go,
Yes.
does it matter with the price or the brand? A lot of people get hung up on they have to have the most expensive brand to have it work for them. Does it matter, or can you just go to the drugstore and get just as long as it's SPF 30?
No.
Broad spectrum.
So this is such a great question, Misha, because really you want it to have a physical blocker in it, a mineral-based blocker, which means titanium dioxide and most importantly, zinc oxide. Zinc oxide is what really protects you from that UVA, that A that ages us. But because of that, it has a little bit of white to it. And so usually what you'll find it in is baby sunblocks. And so most of the over-the-counter brands that you find in a drugstore are sometimes larger particle zinc oxide that make us look white and pasty. Some of the ones that are dispensed at physicians' offices are a little more sophisticated. So they actually absorb to a degree in the skin so you don't have that white pasty look, but you still look good and you're actually blocking yourself from that bad UVA ray. So it does matter. And not only does it matter what kind it is, but also that you use the right amount. So a nickel size amount will cover your face and neck appropriately.
Such important information, especially as we head deeper into summer. Thank you so much, Dr. Sabrina Fabi, for being here. Always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.